Step 1. Identify your intention verbally and in writing, and develop a deep yearning for it. When you create a great longing for the experience of a peaceful family, everything will begin to happen to fulfill this yearning spontaneously and naturally. Rather than praying to a saint or God for a miracle, pray for the miracle of the inner awakening, which will never leave you. Step 2. Intend for all of your relatives what you intend for yourself. When anyone criticizes, judges, acts angry, expresses hatred, or finds fault with you, they're not at peace with themselves. Want this peace for them even more than you desire it for yourself. Let me say that again. Want this peace for them even more than you desire it for yourself. This doesn't require words or actions on your part. Simply picture the people in your family with whom you're not at peace and feel the peace you crave for them. Your inner speech will change, and you'll begin to experience the peaceful authenticity of both your beings. Step 3. Be the peace you're seeking from others. If peace is missing in your relationships with your family, it means that you have a place within you that's occupied by non-peace. Say a friendly hello to the non-peace and then let it go. You're sending a peaceful feeling to the non-peace feeling. The lower energies you're experiencing will be strengthened by your peaceful hi or hello and eventually vanish as the divine grows within you. The way to this peace is through any form of quiet and meditation that works for you. Even if it's only a 2-minute respite during which time you're silent, concentrate on the name of the divine or repeat the sound of ah as an inner mantra. Step 4. Match up with the 7 faces of intention. If you've forgotten what the universal mind of intention looks like, it's creative, kind, loving, beautiful, always expanding, endlessly abundant, and receptive to all of life. This kind of spiritual energy will be transformative, not only for you, but also for your relatives. Your intention to be in peaceful relationships is now taking form, first in your mind, then in your heart, and ultimately, it will materialize. Step 5. Review all of the obstacles that have been erected on your path to familial peace. Listen to any inner dialogue that focuses on your resentment of others' expectations for you. Remind yourself that when you think about what you resent, you act upon what you think about, while simultaneously attracting more of it to yourself. Examine your energy field for your tendency to react to lower energies with more of the same, and give your ego a reminder that you'll no longer opt to be offended or need to be right in these relationships. Step 6. Act as if. Begin the process of acting as if what you intend to manifest is already true. See everyone in your family in the love and light that is their true identity. When someone asked Baba Muktananda, a great saint in India, "Baba, what do you see when you look at me?" Baba said, "I see the light in you." And the person responded, "How can that be, Baba? I am an angry person. I am terrible. You must see all of that." Baba said, "No, I see the light." This story is told by Guru Mai in a wonderful book called Kindle My Heart. So see the light in those others and treat them as if that's all you see. Step 7. Detach from the outcome. As long as you remain connected to intention and radiate outward the high energy, you've achieved your peace. It's not your place or your purpose to make everyone else in your family think, feel, and believe as you do. The likelihood is great that you'll see dramatic changes in your relatives as you teach them with your own persona how you intend to be treated. But if they don't change, and if they continue their non-peaceful ways, let go of your need to see them transformed. By letting go, you guarantee your own peace, and you dramatically increase the odds of helping others to do the same. Step 8. Affirm, "I attract only peace into my life." Say it over and over again. I attract only peace into my life. I say this silently to myself as an absolute truth with unbending intent on my part, and it works for me almost all the time. People respond to me with smiles, acknowledgments, friendly gestures, and kind greetings all day long. I also remind myself of the cogent observation from A Course in Miracles when I feel other than peaceful in any given moment with my family. They say in A Course in Miracles, I can choose peace rather than this. Step 9. Hold no grudges and practice forgiveness. The key to having peace in all of your family relationships is forgiveness. All of your relatives are simply doing what they've been taught to do over a lifetime, and the lifetimes of many of their ancestors. Shower them with understanding and forgiveness from your heart. And finally, step 10, as always, be in a state of gratitude. Rather than being in a state of non-peace concerning any family members, say a prayer of gratitude for their presence in your life and all that they have come to teach you. These are the 10 steps that you can practice each day as you work toward the absolute knowing that this intention will manifest for you. Remind yourself on a daily basis that you can never remedy a bad relationship by condemning it. My teacher, Abraham Maslow, used to say that to become independent of the good opinion of other people is among the highest qualities of people who reach these levels of higher consciousness, or what we're talking about, the meaning phase of our life, or the afternoon of our life. And most of us get so consumed with what other people think of us. And when Buddha offered that quote, when his devotees said, how can you be so calm in the face of all that criticism? His answer was that question, which was, if someone offers you a gift and you don't accept that gift, to whom does the gift belong? And they all thought about it and then realized that when someone offers you a gift of their opinion, no matter what it is, if you don't accept it, then it doesn't belong to you. And why in the world would you ever be upset about something that belongs to someone else? It's theirs, it's not yours. And that's something that each and every one of us can cultivate. And it goes way beyond just that great spiritual story. It goes into when we put our focus on how much money am I making, or how much prestige do I have, or did I get that promotion, or did I win the game? All of that is really about being dependent upon the good opinion of other people. You ever watch television and see when the football game is on and the cameras pan the crowd and everybody's number one, and I think, only one person can be number one. Only one. But there's all of us out there. So even in a competitive tennis match or whatever it might be that you're doing, there's still the place within you where you can allow other people's opinions to be just what they are, and to just enjoy every single moment of it. Just recently, in an Olympic match, there was a high hurdler who was running for the gold medal. And when she got to the 9th hurdle, there's 10 hurdles, when she got to the 9th hurdle, she said in her interview afterwards, I already saw the gold medal around my neck. And as soon as she took her focus off of what she was there to do and onto the outcome, or what other people were going to think of her and what it was going to be like to stand on the podium, she hit the hurdle. And she hadn't hit a hurdle in years. If we stay on purpose, on process, rather than on what people think and what the outcome is going to be, nothing can stop us. Nothing. Carl Jung once said that at the same moment that you're a protagonist in your own life and you're making choices, at the very same moment you're also the spear carrier or the extra in a much larger drama. We are making choices, he said, but we are all doomed to make choices, which is a paradox. We're doomed, that is, it's all set up for us, and we're also making choices. And if you want to get to the highest place in the Bhagavad Gita, the great ancient spiritual text of the Hindu faith, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us, that means Song of the Lord. It teaches us that you have to learn to blend the two opposites and live with two opposite ideas at the same time. I am a choice maker, I am out there, I have a free will, and at the same time, I am being lived by the Tao. And both of those, while they may contradict each other, it's the way of life, because what doesn't contradict? Think about who you are. Think about who you are right now listening to this. Who you are is this thing that's in physical form. It has a beginning, it has an end, it has substance to it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you get a hold of it. And also who you are is totally and completely invisible. That part of you which is listening to this and processing this and thinking about it and wondering about it is invisible. It has no form. You are form and formless all at the same moment. If I want to just wiggle my finger, it's an amazing thing to be able to just take this finger and wiggle it, because here's the finger and I wiggle it. What makes it wiggle it? You can go inside of my brain and you can find that which allows it to happen, but you can never find the interior, the invisibleness within each and every one of us that just says, I'm going to wiggle my finger. That's just a thought. It's invisible. You can't get a hold of that. You can't grab that thought. So I am that, and I am also the finger that is wiggling. I'm both. And that paradox is something we all have to learn to live with and stop fighting it. It's just in the way of things. First and foremost, enjoy the mystery. Let the world unfold without always attempting to figure it all out. Let relationships just be. For example, since everything is going to stretch out in divine order, don't try so hard to make something work. Simply allow. Don't always toil at trying to understand your mate or your children or your parents or your boss or anyone else, because the Tao is working at all times. When expectations are shattered, practice allowing that to be the way it is. Relax. Let go. Allow. And recognize that some of your desires are about how you think your world should be, rather than how it is at that moment. Become an astute observer. Judge less and listen more. Take time to open your mind to the fascinating mystery and uncertainty that we all experience. And then, practice letting go of always naming and labeling. The labeling process is what most of us were taught in school. We studied hard to be able to define things correctly in order to get what we called high grades. Most educational institutions insisted on identifying everything, leading to a tag that distinguished us graduates with knowledge of specific categories. Yet we know, without anyone telling us, that there's no title or degree or distinguishing label that truly defines us. In the same way that water is not the word water any more than it is agua, Vaser, or H2O. Nothing in this universe is what it's named. In spite of our endless categorizations, each animal, flower, mineral, and human can never truly be described. In the same way, the Tao tells us that the name that can be named is not the eternal name. We must bask in the magnificence of what is seen and sensed, instead of always memorizing and categorizing. Do the Tao now. At some point today, notice an instant of annoyance or irritation you have with another person or situation. Decide to do the Tao, or practice the way, in that moment by turning inward with curiosity about where you are on the continuum between desire and allowing. Permit the paradox of wanting the irritant to vanish and allowing it to be what it is. Look inward for it in your thoughts and allow yourself to feel it wherever it is and however it moves in your body. Turn all of your attention to becoming open-minded, allowing permissiveness to befriend the mystery within yourself. Notice how the feeling manifests itself, perhaps doing loop-de-loops in your stomach, giving a rigidness to your skeleton, making your heart pound, or tightening your throat. Wherever it is, allow it as an enigmatic messenger within you, and give it non-judgmental attention. Notice the desire for the feeling to disappear, and allow it to be monitored compassionately by you. Accept whatever comes. Encounter the mystery within without labeling, explaining, or defending. It's a subtle distinction at first, which you must take personal responsibility for identifying. You alone can prepare the ground of your being for the experience of living the mystery.
So here are 5 attitudes that I believe that we need to cultivate. The first of these is, I am a human being expressing God without reservation. This is an attitude that says, who I am is particular, is individual, but I am expressing God. And therefore, I am honorable, I am worthy, I count, and I shouldn't be thinking of myself as something that is less than valuable. That's the first. The second is, I accept myself without complaint. I have a slogan that I use in my own life. It says, whenever I hear my children complaining or other people and they ask me for advice, I always say, don't complain, don't explain. Don't complain, don't explain. I accept myself without complaint. I look at the body that I'm in, and I understand that this is nothing more than my curriculum to God. There are things about it that if I were to be designing it myself, perhaps I would have done a little differently. I might have put a little extra hair on the top. I might have made myself a little taller. I might have made myself a little darker. I might have made my eyes a different color, whatever it is. But that isn't up to me. Because who I am is not this thing that I occupy. This is just a garage where I park my soul. And it doesn't matter. It is my curriculum to God. And whether it can see or can't see, whether it's in a wheelchair, whether it's 4'1", or 7'3", whether it's dark or white, whether it's living on the plains of the Kalahari, or whether it's living in New Guinea, or in Detroit, or Chicago, it doesn't make any difference. I accept myself without complaint. This is what I showed up in. And not only do I accept myself without complaint, but I accept life without complaining. And all of us have that choice, and we don't listen to that inner voice. That inner voice. I've often said that if prayer is you talking to God, then your intuition is God talking to you. And that intuition is something you want to listen to. And complaining about anything in your world, particularly about yourself, is a way of blocking the free flow of the divine intelligence that is everywhere and wants to be delivering abundance into your life. The third is, and this is a hard one for people, is I take full responsibility for my life. I take full responsibility for my life. You see, if you are disconnected or feel disconnected from the divine source, you cannot manifest. The separation is what keeps you from connecting. You can't align yourself. Not taking responsibility for your life and anything in it. And I get letters from people who feel that I shouldn't be saying this, because people who have illnesses that they can't do anything about, they don't want to have to take responsibility for them. Or people who have been victims of abuse and things like this, don't want to take responsibility for them. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that you feel guilty about anything that has come your way. It means that I have attracted this into my life in some way that I don't understand. It has showed up in my life, and it's my life. And I want to be able to ensure that these things don't show up anymore. And also I want to be able to send them out of my life. But I can't do it if I don't assume a kind of responsibility for them. No guilt. And the fourth one is, I take on no guilt. If to feel worthy, you don't take on guilt. Just taking on this sense of responsibility. If I get anything in my body, that if it's a hernia, if it's an ache, if it's a pain, if it were a cancer, if it were arthritis, if it's I can't sleep, if it's a cold, if it's a backache, if it's a headache, whatever it is, I am going to say, there's something in me that has attracted this. Rather than, I don't know how this happened, I'm just a victim. These kind of things happen. We live in a carcinogenic world, and these kind of things just happen. It's like the minute that you take responsibility for it, you connect to the divine source, which can heal it. The minute that you say, I had nothing to do with this, then you put that barrier up there, and you're disconnected from the healing of it. So I'm not talking, I want to re-emphasize, I'm not talking about feeling guilty about it. I'm talking about saying, it's here, I've experienced it, I can do something with it. I can either go back to that stage of being an athlete and being a warrior and say, it's all in my ego, or I can do something profound about it, which is to say I can teach and become a statesman and a spiritual being by teaching others how to avoid having this happen. It came to me for a reason. I don't have to understand it, but I take responsibility for it. No guilt, no abdicating the person who was responsible for it and saying, oh, it wasn't their fault. None of that. No removal of the punishment that the person deserves for that kind of conduct. None of that. Simply taking responsibility and saying, I now connect to whatever it is that's in my life, and I no longer am going to carry around the anguish and the guilt there, any place in my life. As soon as you do that, you honor your worthiness to receive the healing, to receive the abundance, to receive the love that might have been missing from your life. The fifth and final affirmation or attitude to create for ourselves a sense of being worthy is to have congruency in your life. Congruency. I understand the importance of harmony between my thoughts, my feelings, and my behaviors. Very often, most of the problems that we face as people come from our inability to have congruency or harmony exist between what I think, what I feel, and how I behave. I may think one thing, I may feel something else, and then behave in a different way. And to have a congruency is to honor your worthiness. Virtually all addictions come from an incongruency. I have a thought about one thing, I feel something else, and then I behave in a different way. And that incongruency is what keeps us from feeling worthy.